Coach, was there any particular stat or stats that the staff has decided would be an area of focus to improve on for this year?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think pace of play for us. I think increasing possessions from an offensive perspective. I think we want to get up and down the floor a little bit more and create some more pace and tempo, maybe a little faster than we did last year. Obviously, offensive rebounding. I think that's a big area for us that we have to do a much better job on the offensive glass. I think again that gets us extra possessions, but I think those two areas. I think if you look at our team last year, I think how we play, we really share the ball. All right, I think that's a big area of ours. Whether it's assist to turnover ratio, our shot making ability, ability to shoot the ball from three. But again, I would say pace and on the offensive glass are two areas that we're definitely trying to improve this year.
It's kind of the second year in a row now for the staff where you've had to replace some of your top-end scoring from the previous year. Yeah. Is there anything you took away maybe from last season and how you got some new guys in to be those top-end scorers that you have taken into this season?
Yeah, I think every year, and again, I think college basketball right now, kind of year to year, you're seeing a lot of change, across the country. And I think, whenever I think we had, I think 4 of our top 5 scorers from last year are gone. But I think what ends up happening is with each new year, you have new guys emerge, new guys step up. And again, I think with what we have returning, we do have a lot of guys that, played considerable minutes last year. I think I looked at it this morning. I think of those returning guys, it's at 70 total starts, I think, between that group. And so you have some guys that have reference points with college basketball along with the, with the transfer guys that we brought in. But again, obviously guys like Darwishi and Anderson and Brad Dean and guys like that, really Bryce, scored the ball for us, quite a bit last year. But I would expect, again, with each new year, new guys emerge, and I think with the additions of a guy like Pete Suter and Antoine Woolfolk, and we've got a group that's really I think poised to be balanced, but guys again, like I said, that have reference points to college basketball, and I have no doubt that we'll be able to bridge that gap.
Cam Kraft was a guy that was familiar with Coach Steele because of his time at Xavier, and you brought in Antoine Woolfolk as well, who was coached by a Miami alum in high school, and Chet Mason. How important is that familiarity when you're trying to get guys out of the portal to come here?
Yeah, I think probably if you ask Coach Steele and our staff, I think it's probably the most important thing. I think fit is everything. And because I think nowadays, like when you bring a guy in from the portal, you want to make sure that there's a fit across the board. It's not just a basketball fit, but it's a fit with the university. It's a fit, style of play wise, all that kind of stuff. And I think when there's relationships in place, I think it makes that transition from the transfer portal from another school here to Miami that much easier, because you know a little bit more about what you're getting. And I think that relationship piece, when those are in place, it does make that transition and getting guys acclimated to, not just from a basketball perspective, but from our culture as well. Kind of, hey man, these guys are really going to fit in here, basketball wise, culture wise, because those relationships have been in place.
Scheduled tough again in non-conference. Yeah. What's the goal for you guys now in these first couple months of the year before MAC play?
I think it's important always to challenge your guys, in the non-conference and give them great experiences. Obviously, getting a chance to go play at a Michigan, play at Indiana, going to Fort Myers. I think it's when you're piecing together a schedule, it's a lot more to it than just calling somebody up and saying, hey, let's go play. We're trying to put together a schedule where we can be successful, challenge our guys, and obviously, most importantly, prepare us for MAC play. And I think we've done that with this schedule. Like I said, I think it gives us some different reference points, as we try to build this thing up heading into January, and ultimately, put us in the best position to be successful in MAC play.
Last year with Anderson here, you had an inside presence, defensively and offensively, if need be. How do you feel about being able to continue to be to have that inside presence.
Yeah, I think it's really important, obviously, to have a guy that you can throw the ball to on the block. If you need to get a paint to, a guy that can give you some rim protection. And I think if you look at our team, with Antoine, with Reese Potter, with Jackson Katecki, like we do have some size in there. Obviously Antoine at 6'9", Reese at almost 7 feet. Like we just have different guys that are both comfortable on the perimeter and on the block, and so again, obviously we have a void to fill with Anderson. I mean, he was a presence. We could throw the ball to him, as you said, to get a bucket if we needed to. I think how we play, those guys are different from Anderson, but I still think that they're going to give us that presence inside that we need, and also, being able to play out on the floor as well. I think both those guys, all three of those guys, are very versatile, very mobile, and really fit how we play, skill-wise too.
You talk about going to Indiana, going to Michigan, and playing those environments. How could students help you build a better environment to play in here at home at Millett?
Yeah, I think the thing I would say is just come out and support. I think it's get behind this team, get behind this group, and I think it's really important to we've got a very historic place here, and getting students and people in the community to come out and support our group. And I understand that there's a the aspect of a winning aspect to it as well. People want to come out and support a team that is successful. I get that. But I think that when you watch our group from a competitive standpoint, from an effort standpoint, it's a group that people, I think, are really going to get behind and support us. But again, I think the university experience, I would encourage all the students to come out and support us. Come out. We've got enough home games here, especially in the non-conference, that if you look back at our games last year, and I may be off on the actual games, but I think it was Ball State here, maybe Central Michigan here, where we had massive crowds, 6,000, 7,000, people, and it is a big deal. It makes a big difference for our guys, for our team. Just the energy in the building, I think, creates a competitive advantage for us. And again, I think, like I said, my encouragement would be to come out and support this group. Like I said, it's going to be a really good team to get behind and follow. But I do think it makes a big difference, when people are here, when people are in the building. So,
building depth can be a process. How do you think it's going in that process?
I think it's going to be one of our strengths, and again, I think it's a Golden State Warriors slogan, but strength in numbers. I think for us, that's going to be a big thing. We have depth, we have versatility, and, we have some guys that, like I said, don't have reference points yet to college basketball. Like obviously our two freshmen, Luke and Brant, haven't played college basketball yet. But we also have some guys that have, like I said, our returning core group, played a lot last year and played a lot of, impactful minutes and in, highly intense moments. And then obviously the guys that we brought in, have great, reference points to college basketball as well. So I anticipate that being a big strength of our team is our depth, both guard depth and, our depth up front and our versatility as a group.
Last year, Hunter gave you some experience. How do you feel about having experience to help along this year?
Yeah, I think, again, you look at a guy like Antoine Woolfolk that's played in the Big Ten, a guy like Pete Suter that's played a lot of college basketball. Dan Lewers, at Eastern Illinois is an older guy that's played a lot of college basketball. So, I think their leadership is going to be invaluable, for our guys just from an experience standpoint. But again, like I said, even though we've got 5 sophomores, 2 freshmen, those sophomores have played a lot, and so I think from a leadership perspective, those older guys that we brought in, from the portal, I think we'll lean on them a lot, because again, a guy like Darwishi had played a lot of college basketball, but again, you look at our group now, just like a Pete Suter, a Dan Lewis, some of these guys have a lot of reference points with college basketball, as do our sophomores, but I think that leadership part will continue to grow as the year progresses.